Hi everyone, I'm Greg, Bioinformatter from Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Moxfield. And about 2 weeks ago, there was a charity event for Trans Lifeline. It was let's see what they called it. They called it a Four Clown Throwdown for Trans Lifeline, and it was uh, Mr. Beavers, Chain Commander, Hobbs Q, and N. Lambert, 91090. Um, they were the four clowns in the game. But anyhow, one of the prizes was a draft box of Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, Dungeons and Dragons. And so it arrived today. And I'm going to crack it. So let's see what kind of goodies are in this box. So I want to thank thank those folks for running the giveaway, and more importantly for having a very successful charity stream for Trans Lifeline. So I was happy to contribute to that event. Um, okay, so yes, there are the draft instructions. And we've got our packs. Okay. Okay, let's see how good we are here. Um, let's see. I'll do this one the long way around. I'll be pronouncing things and not skipping over things. So, Great Swordateer, a Young Red Dragon, Band Together, Minsk and Boo, Young Blue Dragon, uh, Armor of Shadows, Citadel Gate. Let's see, we got our commons, we got Citadel Gate, we got Sea Gate, Guardian Naga, Tiamat's Fanatics, Nimblewright Sovereign, Runaway Together, with the comedy art, Underdark Explorer, Dire Mimic. Okay, now we're into the uncommons. Reticus's Vile Duplication, Meteor Golem, OG the Exquisite Blade, Safana Columnport Cutthroat, Veteran Soldier, Barroom Brawl. Okay, so now we're so that was the rare. Yeah, so the Barroom Brawl, it's kind of a slow motion board wipe. I think target creature you control fights target creature of the opponent to your left controls. And then that player may copy the spell and may choose new targets for the copy. So if you happen to have the biggest creatures and you pass this around, you'll take out some stuff, but they won't take out you. So could be interesting. Underseller Sweep. So that's an enchantment in the foil, and we have a token for treasure. Yeah. Guiding Bolt. Fang Dragon. Ettercap. Timura's Invoker. Ghastly Death Tyrant. So a Beholder. Blessed Hippogriff. Moss Diamond. Goggles of Night. Warehouse Thief. Command Tower. Rainbow Lightning. Dragonborn Looter. Guildsworn Prowler. You're confronted by robbers. Manifold Key. So this is our starting into the uncommons. So untap artifacts and target creature can't be blocked. Candlekeep Inspiration. Bonecaller Cleric. So here's a showcase Alcyn Emerald Archdruid. We have Cloakwood Hermit. So it's one of the backgrounds, an uncommon background. So commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. So, you know, if you've got token multipliers out and you happen to lose a creature, you can get a decent board state. Sea of Clouds as a rare, so that's decent. They're on the good side. I can't be that picky. Martial Impetus is a common foil. And then we have the Initiative and the Undercity as the token. Yeah, these are the Battle Bond style cycle of lands, but they've got several different variant arts for them in this set. So I forget how much the low end ones are worth. Shiny Impetus, Scaled Nurturer, Sword Coast Serpent, Atrocious Experiment, Great Sword of Tyr, Patron of the Arts, Marble Diamond, Universal Solvent, Predatory Impetus, Stunning Strike, Mold Folk, Javelin of Lightning, Lantern of Revealing, okay, Dungeoneer's Pack, Rug of Smothering, Nothic, Mahadi, Emporium Master. So at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. Yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah, I'm mainly a mono green player at the moment, but I've been thinking of other multicolor builds. So there's a lot of interesting cards in this set. Noble Heritage. So this is a rare background. So commander creatures you own have, when this creature enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature they control. For each opponent who does, you gain protection from that player until your next turn. Aha. So it's kind of like a goad. So essentially, you are being generous and gifting them these counters to let them beat up on each other. So that's cool. Archivist of Ogma. So this is a good card. Value-wise, this is a good hit. So it's got flash. When an opponent searches their library, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So when people are like doing land fetches and stuff like that, I think that counts. So, Noble's Purse. So this is an uncommon foil. And another one of these initiative Undercity dungeon tokens. Okay, so we got Nature's Lore, Winter Eladrin, Grace Slod. So one of these adventure cards. So it's mill 4 cards. Then you exile this, and then if you cast it from exile as a frog horror, as long as there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, Grey Slod has Menace and Death Touch. Rowing Harper. Hoarding Ogre. So this is one of the many dice roll cards. Manor Gate. Bronze Walrus. Evolving Wilds. Summon Undead. Steadfast Unicorn. So for 3 and a white, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. Activate only during your turn. So still common. Wayfarer's Bauble. So you should know that from many previous sets. Heapgate. Faceless One, which is our kind of fill-in commander when you're drafting. Kind of like Prismatic Piper from the original Commander Legends set. Owlbear's Shepherd. So we're moving on to the uncommons. Mind Stone. So that's reprint. Corlessa Scale Singer. Sword Coast Sailor. So it's another background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, this creature can't be blocked. Lae'zel, Vlaakith's Champion. So that's a rare. So we got another land. So we got a luxury suite. So we hit 2 of the lands in the box. And we have a Sea Hag adventure, or Aquatic Ingress is the name of the adventure side of it. So, of course, this is one that's tiny. Up to 2 target creatures, each get +1/+0 until the end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. And then you exile it, and then if you cast it back as the Sea Hag for 4 and a blue, when Sea Hag enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -4, -0 until end of turn. So okay. We have a goat with a boot as our token. Okay, Avenging Hunter. Trample, when Avenging Hunter enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. So I haven't got a chance to play with dungeons at all. I bought, you know, a decent amount of the Forgotten Realms set, but actually didn't get around to, you know, I wasn't playing heavily, and at that point, and I was building my own decks. So I really haven't actually in a game gotten to play with dungeons yet. But this initiative stuff plays with that dungeon mechanic. Draconic Lore, Armor of Shadows, Icewind Stalwart, Breath Weapon, Circle of the Land Druid, Prophetic Prism, Myconid Spore Tender, Lantern of Revealing, Nefarious Imp, Genius Artillerist, Trailblazer's Torch, Dread Lenorum. So yeah, so I don't know how far back the adventures go. I know that it was a big thing in oh, whatchamacallit, the fairy tale one. Throne of Eldraine. And I don't know if they did them in sets prior to that or not. Because I got in at Kaldheim and then started kind of working my way back and have kept up with it moving forward. Draconic Muralists, so now we're into the uncommons. Bloodboil Sorcerer, Commander Liara Portier, Scanos Dragonheart, Tavern Brawler, so it's a common background. Yeah, so there's, you know, the backgrounds are new in this set. There's a bunch of them, but they're kind of cool because, you know, you don't have to use them as a commander. You can just use them as enchantments, and they can actually slot into, you know, different archetypes of decks and do some good for you. Robe of the Archmagi. And then we have a Charcoal Diamond in foil. And the initiative token. Yeah, so the initiative's kind of like Monarch, except it will get you into getting it either gets you into or advances you in a dungeon, with like the exception that I think it gets you into the Undercity. That, you know, if you're not already in a dungeon, but if you're playing other dungeons and you've gotten into the dungeon, then initiative will allow you to advance a room, and you can do it more than once. You know, if you gain the initiative more than once in your turn, you can advance more than once in the dungeon. Psychic Impetus, Vicious Battle Rager, Flaming Fist Officer, Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind. Druid of the Emerald Grove. So this is another dice rolling card. And most of these operate where you roll you roll a d20 and there's a couple of categories, and you get increasing benefits the better you roll. So in this case, when Druid of the Emerald Grove enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and reveal them, then roll a d20. And so if it's 1 to 9, put those cards into your hand and shuffle. And if it's 10 to 19, put one of those cards onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand and then shuffle. And 20, put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So, if you get your nat 20 on your roll, then you get the good stuff. Dream Fracture. Okay, Moss Diamond in the showcase rulebook format. And run away together again. Prized Statue. Marut. Pack Attack. That's an instant. Attacking creatures get +X, +O until end of turn, where X is the number of players being attacked. Draw a card. Lurking Green Dragon. So there's a lot of dragons in this set, and you get the cheapo dragons, and you get the really expensive ancient dragons. Maybe we'll hit one of them if we're lucky. Universal Solvent. Cast Down. Common. Iron Mastiff. Sailor's Bane. Dragon Turtle. Renari, Merchant of Marbles. Feywild Visitor. So this is the background. Commander creatures you own have whenever one or more non-token creatures you control deal combat damage to a player. You create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with fly. So there's a bunch of fey creatures involving making fairy dragon tokens, and yeah, I think that the blue dragon does stuff like that too, if I'm not mixing it up. The ancient blue one, or is it ancient silver? Anyhow, there's lots of rooms for exploding the number of fairy dragons that you're spitting out. Mirror of Life Trapping. That's okay, and we got Lulu, Loyal Hollyfont, and we got this one as our foil in the pack. So that's, we have a copy token. Okay, Arms of Hadar. Minimus Containment. Baal's Invoker. Avenging Hunter. Young Blue Dragon. Deadly Dispute. Cliffgate. Marching Duodrone. Chardalyn Dragon. So a colorless dragon. Recruitment Drive. So, how many night tokens do you want to spit out, depending on your die roll? Nimble Right Schematic. Genasi Forces. Oceanus Dragon. Cloud Kill. Overwhelming Encounter. Sharpshooter Elf. Criminal Past. So this is a background. Commander creatures you own have Menace, and this creature gets +X/+O, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Baal, Lord of Murder. Ooh, Displacer Kitty. Ooh, 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 ooh. Avoidance. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to one target non-land permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, get your enter the battlefield value out of things. Vrock as a foil. It's a bird demon. Oh, and we also have a cute little rabbit token. Which goes with Kadira, Caller of the Small, I think. Yep, she can spit out a rabbit army. They will smother you with cuteness. Blessed Hippogriff. Reckless Barbarian. Cloakwood Swarm Keeper. Nimbleclaw Adept. Murder. Charcoal Diamond and Showcase. Classic Lightning Bolt. Well, not classic art, but classic card. Thieves' Tools. Your temple is under attack. So this is kind of like it's a choose your own adventure type of card. So there's several of these in here, and they were in Forgotten Realms as well. So choose one, pray for protection. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That can come in handy. And strike a deal. You and target opponent each draw 2 cards. So kind of share the wealth there if you so choose. Do some politicking. Javelin of Lightning. Underseller Myconid. Lapis Orb of Dragonkind. Sturge. Insect Bat. Two-handed Axe. So this is a uncommon, but it's a cool piece of equipment. So it's basically it doubles your power different ways. So that's Skullwinder. Here's the Kadira, Caller of the Small, that goes with the rabbit token. So trample. Whenever Kadira, Caller of the Small deals combat damage to a player, for each token you control, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. So that can get out of hand quickly. Kaga Shadow Archdruid. Scion of Halaster. So this is another background. Commander creatures you own have the first time you would draw a card each turn. Instead, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your graveyard and the other back on the top of the library, then draw a card. So you can kind of filter through the top of your deck. Try and get to the good stuff. Call to the Void is the rare. Each player secretly chooses a creature they control and a creature they don't control. Then those choices are revealed. Destroy each creature chosen this way. Miracle's Invoker is the foil, and we have a treasure token. Okay. Into the second stack. Goliath's Paladin. So, is it Paladin or Paladin, or is that kind of like a regional difference? Although I used to create dungeon maps in the past, I haven't really played a real Dungeons and Dragons game, but I think if I had, I would know um, what the pronunciation should be. Stirring Bard, Carefree Swine Master, Contact Other Plane, Zentarum Bandit, Icewind Stalwart, Fire Diamond, Manor Gate, Guardian Naga. You've been caught stealing, so choose one. Threaten the Merchant. Each creature blocks this turn if able. Or bribe the guards. You create a treasure token for each opponent who was dealt damage this turn. Dawnbringer Cleric. So, go ahead. When Dawnbringer Cleric enters the battlefield, choose one. Cure Wounds, you gain 2 life. Dispel Magic, destroy target enchantment. Gentle Response, exile target card from graveyard. Dragonborn Looter. Trailblazer's Torch. Null Warband. Bag of Holding. Taunting Kobold. Na 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 na. We've got haste. Whenever Taunting Kobold attacks, goad target creature and opponent controls. We have Allura, Merry Thief, Halfling Rogue in the showcase. Master Chef as a background. So it's common, but it's commander creatures you own have this creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, and other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter. And I think I'm trying to see if I can slot this into my existing mono green deck, because it's more it uses counters, but it can take advantage of modifications. I've got Kodama of the West Tree in there, so having something like that to make sure that you've got some even slight low level of modification can be of assistance. Legion Loyalty, so creatures you control have Myriad, yeah, so there's all kinds of shenanigans that you can get up to there. So I think that's a decent card. And we have for Lessa Scale Singer in the showcase foil. So it's an uncommon initiative token. Patron of the Arts. Ambitious Dragonborn. So Ambitious Dragonborn enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control and creature cards in your graveyard. Grey Harbor Merfolk. Miracle's Invoker. Tabaxi Toucaneers. Yeah, I was joking with Southernmost DM. So it's a cat ranger. So you've got cats riding toucans. So I said, Frosted Flakes defeated Fruit Loops in the MTG Cereal Wars. Prophetic Prism. Dread Lenorm. Warehouse Thief. Blur. Command Tower. Nefarious Imp. Your temple is under attack. Your temple is under attack. Another faceless one. Inspired Tinkering. Contraband Livestock. So this is one of the die roll cards. But you get to exile a creature, then you roll a d20 to see basically what the owner of that creature gets to replace it with. So it's kind of like a Beast Within for white. Basically, the higher you roll, the weaker the creature is that it gets. So if you get a nat 20, it gets a 0/1 goat. Ganax Astral Hunter. So this is an uncommon dragon. Flying. Whenever Ganax Astral Hunter or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a treasure token. So. And it's also compatible with backgrounds. So you can have it as a commander and throw in another background as a second commander. Vol Candlekeep Researcher. Guild Artisan. So that's a background as well. So commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, you create 2 treasure tokens. Yeah, so there's several backgrounds, at least, and/or cards in this set. Kind of encourage you to attack the person, the player with the highest life total. Undermountain Adventurer. Okay. So this is Vigilance. When Undermountain Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. So this is one that will get you either into the Undercity or advancing in an existing dungeon, one way or the other. We got a Chain Devil in foil. And there's a treasure token. Okay. Coronation of Chaos. Band together. Ninskinboo. Up to 2 target creatures you control. Each deal damage equal to their power to another target creature. Numoclaw Adept. Gray Slod. Astral Confrontation. So it's an exile target creature card. 4 and a white. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent you're attacking. Okay, so it's an instant, so if you get into combat, then you can exile something. Maybe more cheaply. Fang Dragon. Marble Diamond. Navigating Orb. Myconid Spore Tender. Sea Hag. Hezral. So Frog Demon. The adventure is each creature that blocked this turn gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So maybe you can wipe out some creatures if they've had some other damage during the combat. Whenever one or more creatures you control become blocked, each blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Okay, that's the if you pay for it to come back from exile. You're confronted by robbers. Genasi Enforcers. Amethyst Dragon this time. Okay, so now we're into the uncommons. So Explosive Crystal is the adventure side. So Explosive Crystal deals 4 damage divided how you choose among any number of targets. And then it's a Flying Haste Dragon if you get it back. 4/4 Flying Haste Dragon. Beckoning Will-O-Wisp. Flying. Lure the Unwary. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent. Creatures attacking. The last chosen player get +1/+1. I mean +1/+0. Skullport Merchant. Candlekeep Sage as a background. Commander creatures you control have when this creature enters or leaves the battlefield, draw a card. So a card draw background. So we have Zevlor, Alterel Exile. So this is in Showcase. And we have a Reflecting Pool as our rare. So that's good, because it's add 1 mana tap for 1 mana of any color, of any type of land that you control could produce. Okay. So we have Popular Entertainer, which is another background. And this is in foil. Commander creatures you own have whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, go target creature that player controls. And the initiative token. Figured this is from charity, so I'm not doing the quickie break. Sometimes I would be skipping over these and not reading as many cards and just getting you to the hits, but I'm gonna enjoy the box and actually look at cards that I haven't really looked at in as much detail. So, Circle of the Land Druid. When Circle of the Land Druid enters the battlefield, you may mill 4 cards. Then it has natural recovery. When Circle of the Land Druid dies, return target land card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's kind of a way to attempt to dig to make sure you get to some land cards, maybe. Sword Coast Serpent. Zentarum Bandit. Flaming Fist Officer. Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind. Druid World. Grove. Marching Duodrone. You meet in a tavern. So choose one, form a party, or start a brawl. So you form a party, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Creatures you control get +2/+2 end of turn. That's the start of brawl. So, Basilisk Gate, Sturge, Martial Impetus, Druidic Ritual, another mill. You mill 3 cards, then return up to 1 creature card and up to 1 land card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so you're milling 3, and you can get a land and a creature back, potentially. Evolving Wilds. Bane's Contingency. Explore the Underdark. So that's going to be... search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards. Put them upon the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. You take the initiative. Yeah, so I figured it would be one that would get you down into the dungeon. Crystal Dragon. Yeah, so it ends up being a 4/4 flying vigilance if you get it back from exile, but its adventure side is return target artifact, enchantment, or legendary card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so you get some graveyard recursion off of it. We have Minskin Boo, Timeless Heroes. It's our mythic. It's a mythic from the box. Dragon Cultist. So this is another background. Commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step, if a source you control dealt 5 or more damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Okay, have a Wand of Wonder, which is one of these D20 rolls. Tomb of Horrors Adventurer. Yep, so that's a rare as a flow. And Volo Journal. Okay, contact other plane. So it's drawing and scrying based on a dice roll. Chain Devil. Scouting Hawk. Reckless Barbarian. Ettercap. Arakakra Sneak. Cloak of the Past. Worms Crossing Patrol. Ingenious Artillerist. Clockwork Fox. Colossal Badger. Underdark Explorer. Prized Statue. Ambition's Cost. Arcane Signet. Fireball. Flaming Fist. So this is a background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. Will Blade Frontiers. So this is if you would roll one or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus one and ignore the lowest roll. Whenever you roll one or more dice, put a +1/+1 counter on Will Blade of Frontiers. Choose a background. So, yeah. So, dice rolling advantage. Lae'zel's Acrobatics. So, that's one where you do roll dice. That counts as a rare. So it's rare. Basilisk Gate in foil. And Boo token. Miracle's Edict. Tabaxi Toucaneers again. Coronation of Chaos. Jade Orb of Dragonkind. Draconic Lore. Fire Diamond. And Goggles of Night in the showcase. Marut. Recruitment Drive. And Pack Attack. You meet in a tavern. Lapis Orb of Dragonkind. Thieves' Tools. Githzerai Monk. It's a flash flying monk. Mystery Key, which is also interesting. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice Mystery Key. If you do, draw 3 cards. Gotta equip 1 cost. Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward. So this is we have Aranis Gloomstalker, Tavern Brawler, background. We have Firbolg Flutist as our rare. So it's a giant bard. There's Blessed Hippogriff. Sorry. And Knight. Yes. Late night, long day. I'm getting sleepy. Arms of Hadar. Guiding Bolt. Stirring Bard. Carefree Swine Master. Whenever Carefree Swine Master attacks, you may pay 1 in the green. If you do, create a 2/2 green boar creature token that's tapped and attacking. Okay. Kenku Artificer. Vicious Battle Rager. Chanter of Endless Water. Moss Diamond. Poison the Blade. So target creature gains death touch until end of turn plus draw a card. Pilgrim's Eye. Bronze Walrus. Pseudo Dragon Familiar. So flying and 2 and a blue, and target creature gains flying until end of turn. Charterland Dragon. Emerald Dragon. So it ends up being a flying trample 4/4 when you get around to the second part. Swashbuckler Extraordinaire. Sliverous Nightmare Speaker. Ellen Harbree's Busybody in Showcase. Far Traveler, which is a background. Commander creatures you own have, at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target untapped creature you control, and then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Baldur, or I'm assuming it's pronounced that way. So this is a mythic. Flying, whenever Baldur attacks or dies, choose 1 or more. Each mode must target a different player. So target opponent draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random. Target opponent sacrifices a non-token artifact. And Baldur deals damage to target opponents equal to the number of cards in their hand. Yes, my eyesight is going. And we have a Rescuer Chewinga in foil. And an initiative token. Okay. We're powering through. This is the last pack in the second stack. Astral Confrontation. Shiny Impetus. Sylvana's Invoker. Timora's Invoker. Merkul's Invoker. Rowing Harper. Cloak of the Bat. Steadfast Unicorn. Tiamat's Familiars. Fanatics. Black Dragon Gate. Parasitic Impetus. Wayfarer's Bauble. Martial Impetus. So enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So damage starts flying. Feywild's Caretaker. So this is another fairy dragon card. Arcane Encyclopedia. So it's 3 to get out, and then 3 and a tap to draw a card. So if you're stuck, dig for answers. Amber Gristle Omal. Haste, whenever Amber Gristle Omal attacks, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each player being attacked. Scion of Hallister, Shadowheart Dark Justiciar, Baldur's Gate. So tap it for colorless, or 2 and tap it, and add X mana of any color, where X is the number of other gates you control. So, you know, like the other set had a do a shrine tribal. You can do kind of a gate tribal if you want to try it. If that's the thing you want to go for. Circle of the Land Druid and foil, and a skeleton. Yeah, it's one thing with the sets moving so fast. You know, so some people get to try and do the thing that's kind of you know, enabled by the set, and then it's kind of like old hat by the time you want to try it. So, you know, I may build the Shrine Tribal or a Gate Tribal eventually, but it'll be behind the times probably. Earth Tremor, Jade Orb of Dragonkind, Arakocra Sneak, Mirkul's Edict, Bane's Invoker, Citadel Gate, Dawnbringer Cleric, Lurking Green Dragon, Oceanus Dragon, Insufferable Balladeer, Pegasus Guardian. So, rescue the foal. So exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. And then if you get it back, it's a flying 3/3, and at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, create a 1/1 white Pegasus creature token with flying. For a common, that actually sounds kind of cool. And you got to pair it in a deck with Displacer Kitten, I'm sure. So it's at least got to be blue and white. I don't know what other colors are best to do blinky kind of things. Guildsworn Prowler, Faceless One generic drafting commander, Treasure Keeper, Sapphire Dragon. Yeah, so as an adventure, it's Psionic Pulse. So for 2 and a blue, you can counter or target non-creature spell. So you spend relatively less in the scheme of things to get this out to do that. But you have to pay 5 and 2 green to get it back. But this is a little bit bigger than those 4/4s. You get a 5/6 with flying, and whenever Sapphire Dragon attacks or blocks, scry 2. So you can start sequencing that's top of your deck to prepare yourself to win. Campfire. So you can gain 2 life, or you can exile Campfire and put all commanders you own from the command zone and from your graveyard into your hand. Then shuffle your graveyard into your library. Huh. I don't think I actually read this before. That's kind of cool. Right, so you pay 2, tap. Yeah, then you do have to exile this. But yeah, being able to, if you've undergone a board wipe, or you've had your commanders kicked a couple of times, it's a way to evade the commander tax. So kind of like a command tower kind of thing. Minthara, Merciless Soul. So this is in the showcase. Ward X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. So at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, you get an experience counter. Creatures you control get +1/+0 for each experience counter you have. So if you're playing a blink deck, you've got things leaving the battlefield and actually coming back. Hopefully that counts. If they just die, if it was like, measly little tokens that died, you can still, or did it say non-token? If a permanent you control, so it could be tokens as well. Dungeon Delver. So this is another background. Commander creatures you own have room abilities of dungeons you own trigger an additional time. So you can cash in on the good rooms. So you have to choose your path wisely. I think there's some that maybe, I forget, I don't remember what all the different kinds of rooms that are available do. But if they're bad ones, they does it say may? No, they just do. So you have to pick a happy path through a dungeon, or you can do double bad stuff to yourself. Morphic Pool. So it's our third of the Battle Bond lands showing up in this box. Zentarum Bandit and a treasure. Okay, we're down to our final stretch. And here's the Undercity. The Undercity right now. I'll hold it there, so if you decide to focus on this later, you can see it. But it's you can't enter this dungeon unless you venture into Undercity. And there's their secret entrance. You get to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So secret entrance. Then there's the choice of a Forge or a Lost Well. Forge, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature, or Lost Well, scry 2. If you go the Forge route, you can either hit a trap, so that a target player loses 5 life. 5 life. But you could also go into the central arena, where you get to go to target creature. If you go the Lost Well route, you can go through the arena, or you can go into the stash and create a treasure token. And then the Forge path, you can get down into the archives, where you draw a card. With the Lost Well path, you can get into the catacombs, create a 4/1 black skeleton creature token with menace. And then you exit into the Throne of the Dead 3. So in the Throne of the Dead 3, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. Put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. It gains hexproof until your next turn, then shuffle. So that's what the Undercity does. And the initiative, whenever you take the initiative, at the beginning of your upkeep, venture into the Undercity. So that's your gaining the initiative is your ticket into getting into that Undercity. But if you play another dungeon card from the previous set, the initiative will allow you to advance a room. Young Red Dragon, Cloakwood Swarmkeeper, Winter Ladrin, Chain Devil, Goliath Paladin, Breath Weapon, Seagate, Underseller Myconid, Pseudo Dragon Familiar, Hezral, Dire Mimic. You've been caught stealing. Blur. Okay, Slaughter the Strong. So I don't like this card being played against me. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with a total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all the other creatures they control. So I play a green deck where I'm making big stompers. So that's like one of my arch nemesis cards. Moonshade Pixie. So like I was saying before, there's things here that have to do with the fairy dragons, I bet. So Pixie Dust is the adventure. Up to 3 target creatures gain flying until the end of turn. And then when this comes back, flying when Moonshade Pixie enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to the number of opponents who are dealt combat damage this turn. Okay, so this didn't have to do with the Pixie Dragons, but there are like 3 or 4 cards that have to do with the Pixie Dragons. So there's a bunch of blue that support that. Nemesis Phoenix, Rasad-in Bashir, Master Chef again, Will's Reversal. So this is a choose your own adventure rare. Choose target spell or ability with 1 or more targets. Roll a d20 and add the greatest power among creatures you control. So you get to buff your dice roll. 1 through 14, you may choose new targets for that spell or ability. And for 15 plus, you may choose new targets for the spell or ability, then copy it. You may then choose new targets for the copy. Okay. We have an Earth Tremor in foil as our foil. Checking Twitch, and I'm missing some streams. Heapgate. So Katie Karloff is playing, and Jarvis Moonbeam, and EDH Recast. I don't know if you double pronounce the C or not, but Nature's Lore, Psychic Impetus, Atrocious Experiment, Bane's Invoker, Ball's Invoker, Marble Diamond, Navigation Orb, Colossal Badger. So adventure is dig deep. So choose a target creature, mill 4 cards, then put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each creature card milled this way. When Colossal Badger enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Worms Crossing Patrol. Oh, that's another card that I just automatically gloss over, but it does have Myriad. There's several, Myriad cards in this. There's myriad cards in the set. And so, but it's only a 1/1. So it's it's Myriad for a 1/1. So I don't know how special that is, but I think maybe if you've got some doubling effects going on, it might be more interesting. Playing Myriad, having beaters have Myriad is a big deal. Clockwork Fox, Poison the Blade, Stunning Strike, Burnished Heart. So this is the very cute version of Burnished Heart. And unfortunately, it's something that gets sacrificed. So 3 sacrificed Burnished Heart, search the library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them in the battlefield, tapped, then shuffled. It's like such a shame to sacrifice the cute little burnished heart, but my brother-in-law, Grubblethorn 1, is gonna sacrifice the heck out of it. Um, he does it in loops. Stone Skin is an aura, flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +0/+10. Okay. So you can, for 2 and a white, you can rescue some creature from a meat hook, maybe. Bonecaller Cleric. Human Cleric, 3 and a black, sacrifice Bonecaller Cleric. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. Candlekeep Sage, so that's a background. So it's card draw 1. Alondo the Seer. So Human Shaman, tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand, and put a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. It gains when the last time counter is removed from the card. If it's exiled, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until end of turn. Then remove a time counter from each other card you own in exile. So it's a puzzle that you have to put together of mana values that will work and still be useful with that many time counters on it. You have to survive long enough for all of these things to kick in, but it could be fun because you'll just have a lot of things popping off staggered. So it could be fun. Intellect Devourer. So devour intellect. When Intellect Devourer enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand until Intellect Devourer leaves the battlefield. Body Thief. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled with Intellect Devourer. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. We have a Taunting Kobold foil, and a treasure token. Scaled Nurturer. Kenku Artificer. Ghastly Death Tyrant. Scouting Hawk. Hoarding Ogre. Manor Gate. Sky Diamond. Summon Undead. Pilgrim's Eye. On Black Dragon Gate. Druidic Ritual. Sea Hag. Parasitic Impetus. We have a Ghost Lantern. So you can bind Spirit, so return a target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And when you cast this as the Ghost Lantern as equipment, for black, whenever a creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature with equip 1. Okay, so you can buff a creature for the rest of your creatures dying. Banishment. So flash, when banishment enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls, and all other non-land permanents your opponents control with the same name as that permanent until banishment leaves the battlefield. So that's very situational kind of thing. So if circumstances conspire and you get more than one person, like let's see, does this say cards or spells? Non-land permanents. So, you know, if they've got an army of the same kind of token, then that can do some work. Giant Ankheg. So trample ward 2. Other creatures you control have trample in ward 2. So no, it's an 8/8. So it costs 6 and 2 green, so it's not cheap. But thematically, it fits with my kind of green stompy deck. So like if my explosive mana engine is online, then that could help. But it's still a little too expensive, I think. Viconia Drow Apostate. It's an elf cleric. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand. And it also is compatible with the background. Agent of the Iron Throne. So this is a background that's uncommon. Commander creatures you own have whenever an artifact or creature you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. Elturel Survivors. So this has got Trample and Myriad. It starts out as 0/4, but as long as Elturel Survivors is attacking, it gets +X +0, where X is the number of lands defending player controls. Okay. So if someone's got a lot of lands, you can buff these up to make them more powerful, and then you can attack everybody using the Myriad. Bane's Invoker in foil initiative. Okay. We got 4 packs left. Okay. Ambitious Dragonborn. Dream Fracture. Murder. Minimus Containment. Earth Tremor. Sylvanus' Invoker. So Conjure Elemental. 8. The cost of 8. Untap target land you control. It becomes an 8/8 elemental creature with trample and haste until the end of the turn, and it's still a land. That... yeah. At least for me, I don't think so. Decanter of Endless Water. Fire Diamond. Pegasus Guardian. Insufferable Balladeer. So Predatory Impetus. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3. Must be blocked if able, and is goaded. Basilisk Gate. Mold Folk. Modify Memory. So exchange control of 2 target creatures controlled by different players. If you control neither creature, draw 3 cards. Interesting. So you can cause mischief by swapping control of creatures between other players. And, you could exchange some weakling for something good. Noble's Purse. Wilson. Refined Grizzly. So, spell can't be countered. Vigilance, Reach, Trample. Ward 2. You can choose a background. So, it starts off as a 2/2, but You know, you could use like Raised by Giants on it, and have a pretty impressive creature. Um, and you can even do that as commanders together. Um, Imoan Mystic Trickster. Shameless Charlatan. So commander creatures you own have 2 and a blue. This creature becomes a copy of another target creature. Ooh. Vexing Puzzle Box. So whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a number of charge counters in Vexing, on Vexing Puzzle Box equal to the result. And then you can tap, add 1 mana of any color, and then roll a d20. And you can, if you can, so yeah, that'll give you a chance to start charging it up. There's plenty of other dice cards that you may put in your deck. And then the alternative to charging it up by doing a roll is to tap it and remove 100 charge counters from it. Then you can search your library for an artifact card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So you get a free artifact for the cost of 100 points worth of dice results. Marching Duodrone foil. And an Ox token. Yeah, so if you're doing a dice-centric deck and make sure that it's a little artifact-centric or has some cool artifacts, then you kind of get the variable tutor. So it's not like you can instantly tutor for it, you got to work for it. So it's probably a little better than just grabbing it easily. Makes the game more fun for the rest of the people. Grey Harbor Merfolk, Deadly Dispute, Great Sword of Tyr, Young Red Dragon, Band Together, Young Blue Dragon, Prophetic Prism, the Seagate. Mold Folk dropped off. The mold is spreading. Guardian Naga, Tiamat's Fanatics, Nimblewright Schematic, Runaway Together. I've read this in other streams, but choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hands. But the flavor text is true love means always knowing what's on the other's mind. And of course, they've got like a Lithid, mind flayer kind of thing going on there. Underdark Explorer, Vrock, Rescuer Chewinga, Nothic. We are into the uncommons already. We have Lozan, Dragon's Legacy. Inspiring Leader as a background. So commander creatures you control have creature tokens you control get +2/+2. So that can come in handy. We have Ravenloft Adventurer. So human rogue assassin. Whenever Ravenloft Adventurer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. And if a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it and put a hit counter on it. And when Ravenloft Adventurer attacks, if you completed a dungeon, defending player loses 1 life for each card they have in exile with a hit counter on it. Okay, we have a Swiftfoot Boots in foil. And the initiative. Okay, we're down to the final two. Armor of Shadows, Guiding Bolt, Fang Dragon, Ettercap, Timora's Invoker, Citadel Gate, Dire Mimic, Warehouse Thief, Command Tower, Dragonborn Looter, Guild Sworn Prowler, Death Touch. When Guild Sworn Prowler dies, if it wasn't blocking, draw a card. You're confronted by robbers. Faceless one. Non-foil Swiftfoot Boots. Topaz Dragon. So the adventure side is Entropic Cloud. Creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. Okay. And then if you get it back, it's a 4/4 Death Touch. You have Safana, Kalimport Cutthroat. So this is the showcase rulebook version. A Menace at the beginning of your end step. If you have the initiative, create a treasure token. And create 3 of those tokens instead if you've completed a dungeon. And you can choose a background. So a good one if you want to do a dungeon-centric deck. Flaming Fist. So background commander creatures you own have, whenever the creature attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. So Raphael Fiendish Savior. So a Devil Noble, flying. Other demons, devils, imps, and tieflings you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So you can make little pinger demon tokens. Jaheira's Respite. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle and prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. So you get to ramp and get a fog at the same time. So that's one that I'm trying to fit into my deck. Murder. Destroy target creature in foil. And a demon token. Okay. Final pack here. Okay. Underdark. Ghastly Death Tyrant. Blessed Hippogriff. Shiny Impetus. Scaled Nurturer. Sword Coast Serpent. Atrocious Experiment. Sky Diamond. Universal Solvent. Predatory Impetus. Stunning Strike. Mold Folk. Javelin of Lightning. Lantern of Revealing. We have a Gone to Gate. Juvenile Mist Dragon. So flying and confounding cloud. So when Juvenile Mist Dragon enters the battlefield, for each opponent, tap up to 1 target creature that player controls. Each of those creatures doesn't untap during a controller's next untap step. So you can kind of disable some problems. Underseller's Sweep, enchantment, Mahadi Emporium Master, We have Tavern Brawler. That's a common background. We have Basilisk Collar as our rare here. So, you know, a reprint. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink. Equip 3, and we have Sarabak Deathbringer. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no permanents left the battlefield this turn, that player loses X life, where X is Sarabak's power. So that can also go with the background. So that was foil. And we have another initiative token. So no ancient dragons, you know, boo-hoo. But really, I don't think there's much to complain about, because we'll review the goodies. Okay. These are things I think it's worth just a little. I don't think that it's worth a little. Baldur's Gate is worth a little, but I don't think it's worth that much. So that is wins or Mountain Legion loyalty. That's the void. Displacer Kitten. So definitely. Okay. So we got three of the Battle Bond lands. You know, they're all the standard edition, but we got Luxury Suite, Morphic Pool, and Sea of Clouds. So those are definitely good. And then we also have the Morphing Pool, the Reflecting Pool as a land. That you know, I think that's like a $10-ish land. You know, it's an it doesn't come in tapped, and you can get any you know, any color of land you control could produce. So that's pretty awesome. These three, I think, are going to be biggish, and I think that these two are, you know, like moderate maybe, and so let's do a quick check. Already called up TCG player. I've got it in the add products to collection section. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, I can type. So the Archivist of Ogma, standard edition is $16.49. Minsk and Boo. Okay, this edition is only 3. 16, 17. Displacer Kitten, though, is like 12. Legion loyalty is like 6. Vexing Puzzle Box is 548, 550. So find Luxury suite is $849. Morphic pool is 10. Reflecting pool, okay, $8.99 for that. And Sea of Clouds is $7.50. So there's value in the lands, and we got the Archivist and the Displacer Kitten are the winners for individual value. But I think that those are some nice hits from a draft box. It's just a draft box, so it didn't have like the extra slots that you're supposed to get from from set boosters. Plus this box was free. this was a prize, so it's all gravy. I mean, I did make donations, but it was for a good cause, Trans Lifeline. So I'm very pleased, and thanks to Mr. Beavers and the Four Clown Throwdown crew for sending this out to me. And I hope to see you in one of my next box break videos, or maybe even catch a game with you. Thanks, and until next time, bye.